Hello everybody, welcome back to Age of Wonders 3 Corrupting the World. I am Ranak from Lizard Gaming. When we last left, we were exploring the world here. We discovered a hostile giant encampment. However, our city is currently threatened by 4 spiders. We have a Dread Spider Queen, some Dread Spider babies, and a Vampire Spider baby. So we need to get our army back to that area as healthy as possible, as quick as possible. And I'm actually going to give um, our leader here, Monster Slayer. It may be a bit short-sighted, but it can also be used in the late game if we end up fighting a druid leader, as they may have some summons. So, with our other 3 points, we might as well get turn undead and get some hit points. That is one ugly goblin. Thankfully those hasteberry plants have grown, so that should at least help us, especially when we need to get over the mountain. So what we're gonna do is, they're probably just roaming around here. They're probably gonna come through the marshes on this next turn. Hopefully they decide not to attack the city, but I don't think they can actually get here in this turn anyway. But if it looks like they're going to attack, I'd rather recapture the city with 6 units than lose these 2 units and try to recapture the city with 4. Especially when they have a tier 3 Spider Queen. And the best unit I have is my leader and the Goblin War Rider. However, it looks like the spiders have decided to ignore the city right now. So, if I could figure out where they're... Okay. Are you able to get... You are not able to get there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a tactical error. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to begin moving our units here to assist. They might just end up doing mop-up duty after this army gets wiped, because I'm not entirely confident in my abilities to successfully defeat these spiders should they decide to attack us. I could take my hero and my warg rider. It would allow him to move the 2 tiles closer to the army, but that's dooming these marauders to death. But it may end up saving the warg rider. I'm actually going to try and keep as many units in this army here alive, because they do have experience, and that does make them significantly more valuable than they would otherwise be. Maybe we'll get lucky and the AI decides not to attack. Or they could attack our Tiger Knight. Okay, so our objective here is to take out at least 1 unit, at least to give us a numerical advantage. This battle will most certainly be a defeat. I haven't researched any combat spells, I don't think, so there's not really anything my hero can do to assist in this situation. So we need to avoid having our units webbed, and honestly I'd rather take out the Vampire Spider, but I'll be alright with taking out any of them. Okay, so I'm going to slide my army. I'm going to slide my... Yeah, I'm going to slide my army to the left here in hopes of being able to attack this spider over here. Unfortunately, that requires either that spider continuing its trip down here or moving through here. And if that spider does decide to go through this pass here, then whatever the human unit will almost certainly just be vaporized. I don't think I... No, I can continue to outrun it, so I can delay combat for another turn. So I'm actually gonna use this tiger to set up a flank, trying to trap that dread spider baby there. And he does go attack the humans. They did resist the webbing touch, so that's a good first step. And the tigers can freely engage the dread spiders with a flanking attack. So... Okay, so what's going to happen is these vampire spiders are probably going to attack the human longswordsman because this spider or this spider here will take out the tigers with flanking attacks. Yep, that's the match right there. So we did achieve our objective of taking out at least one spider. I would have liked if I could have at least gotten some damage on those vampire spiders, but while it is a defeat, I think it is necessary and okay. I mean, it's definitely not preferred. So what we're going to do is we're going to engage and hopefully be able to defeat them. Our leader does have a powerful musket. We do have a experienced cavalry unit, which will make it useful in taking out the spiders, though we have no ranged attacks besides the leader, and that's what's going to be troublesome. Not to mention that the goblin marauders we do have are still pretty slow. I'm actually going... Yeah, I'm going to lure that dread spider queen here into a position such that the warg riders here can set up a flank, and maybe even the marauders. If the marauders could also flank, that would be spectacular. We have high morale on all our units, so that will help us get critical strikes, which can do a lot of damage. Okay, that's not preferred, but it's definitely okay. I would have rather him to actually attack, because then we'd be able to get a... we would have won an exchange between those two units. However, with him locked up in melee, I'm just going to take this opportunity to get as much flanking damage on that dread spider as possible. And lethal flanking damage is all the better. We can also get these marauders into melee against those spiders there, which will prevent them from moving on any other of our units. So that worked out well. Besides the flanking attack, the one attack on the goblins here, that was a nice crit. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to flank them and blow them away with a musket. So we've resecured our realm. We didn't lose any units, which was brilliant because we don't exactly have very many units to lose anymore. So I'm just going to park them here in the swamp so that way they can regen their health, and I'm going to see what we can do about clearing out this inn here. However, it looks like we may be a bit outmatched. Just looking at rank here. Right. We don't really need any tanks. What we need is some type of ranged unit. That is not what we need. I've never used these Goblin Martyrs. I'm actually going to build enough to flesh out that army, and we'll take that unit of 6 and use that to clear the area. I'm going to move these guys towards here because this army looks significantly easier to defeat. So we're going to try to defeat that one and collect the production here. There's a watchtower I should go capture at some point. So even numbers, but my units are better than theirs, both in straight tier and in experience, so I'm not too worried at all about this. However, those pikemen there are going to give my warg and hero some problems, so they will probably be the ones I focus down. Right, so they managed to get close so that way I can actually do some melee attacks here. Question is, how do I want to do this? Because I have plenty of options, only some of them will actually get accomplished what I want accomplished. If I can win this battle, I am perfectly okay with my leader being killed, as he will just respawn immediately. So I'm gonna engage those pikemen in melee. As well as these prowlers. Once you get Tigrans in melee, they need to do some pretty tricksy stuff in order for them to get out of melee. And I'm actually going to move the Warg Riders over here, so that way they're out of range of the pikemen and yet can set up for any ranged attacks on this flank. And yep, they're going to go for a flanking attack with their pikemen. Okay, so they accepted the... They accepted the opportunity attacks. So they did kill one of my units, however, they took a lot of damage. So we're able to take them out there, and unfortunately this unit here is engaged in melee with a polearm unit, so I'm just going to have him guard to reduce the damage that it can do, while the other two regular infantry and cavalry units position themselves in such a way to get him unlocked from melee. And with that, we killed them. However, he is out of movement points. So I'm going to go lock these ranged units in melee and prevent my leader from dying. So we can get either a temple or a public baths. Might as well just get the temple. City's plenty happy. Alright, so I'm going to add on to the production a Crusader. Crusaders are tougher Marauders, if I remember correctly. So they should be able to replace the Marauder that did die and actually do his job better than the Marauder could. Granted, the Marauder got bonus for destroying things like fences, but I normally don't use infantry units to destroy fences anyway if I can avoid it. So, back to producing structures in this city. We're going to build the Great Temple, the Celestial Chamber, and then the Filth Pits. Then immediately after the filth pits, we're going to start building public baths and hospitals, so that way I feel less disgusting about my own city. Alright, all the units are healed up. Let's clear out this inn. Are you guys considered polearm? No. Okay. So, we are going to move the Marauders up. Basically just start setting up for a clamp type attack. The Tigrans do move really fast, so even by just moving up this much, they're probably going to be able to engage my units on the next turn. Reason why I didn't move my leaders is because he's fast enough that he could get into position to use his ranged attacks in a single turn. However, I am now going to have to move him up because my opponents here did not decide to initiate an attack. So I'm going to send the Crusader up. He's pretty tanky. I'm also going to send the Marauders up. I'm going to start setting up the Martyrs in order to have them be able to launch a ranged attack to bail out any of my units that get caught in melee that I don't want to. And that was actually a bad move there, so I'm going to send in the tankier Warg Rider here. Which means that in order to maintain some semblance of flanking, I'm going to move my leader over here. Didn't you throw the spear at me? Huh. How did he... How did he throw the spear and then continue moving? Okay. Well, these Marauders are locked in a combat that they just simply cannot win. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the Martyrs here, use them to get a flanking ranged attack on them, which will then allow the Martyrs to show them the errors of their ways. So now in order to protect the Martyrs from getting flanked, I'm going to stick the Wargs right here. No, they're still going to get flanked from that unit there. So I'm just actually going to engage the Wizard in melee, which while it does open up the Warg Rider from a flanking attack from these guys here, the Shredders, I think he'll be alright. Or I could be drastically overestimating the resilience of a Goblin Cavalry unit. Panther. Well, that's interesting. Oh, well. Interesting things be happening in combat. So, let's use the Martyrs here to set up another flanking attack. have to be lucky, but I could actually kill the Star Panther without losing the unit here. Very good. Thank you, RN Jesus. Okay, so that was painful, but we did get a Wand of Fiery Doom, which just sounds cool. And he did level up, so we are going to get him Convert, actually. That seems like it'll be fun to use. So we're going to park them in the marsh, get them healed up, and then we're probably going to actually try and take out these ancient ruins. Because that's a lot of research. I would definitely be okay with my martyrs evolving into little angel goblins. That definitely seems like something that would work. So they're almost all healed up. I'm actually going to wait for the Warg Riders to get that extra health or two. I know it seems odd or unnecessary, but I've had plenty of units live with just 1 health left, so every hit point always matters. Well, let's get her done. We got some bards, a berserker, 2 berserkers. Okay, that's actually not bad at all. I'm expecting ogres when I go into this, so this is a nice change of pace. So we're going to prevent the bards from getting a easy ranged attack on as many of my units as I can. While also we need to set up in order to actually engage these units on my terms instead of theirs. Having the initiative is always a powerful tool in any turn-based combat. So I'm actually going to slide most of my army over in this direction here, but I will keep a Warg Rider and a Marauder over here, and I'm basically going to use this Crusader here as bait. Might have been a wise idea to make sure that the Berserkers didn't have Overwhelm. Yeah, now that I think about it, that would have been a wise idea. Oops. So that flank is cleared. I'm actually going to use my leader here to try and bail out those Crusaders. And that's what I'm telling you about 1 health. 1 health makes all the difference. So unfortunately the Crusader is dead, but I'm not too worried about it. They're really quick and easy to make. However, that was an unexpected turn of events that I wish didn't happen. So we're just gonna flank her and kill him. Or at least begin the process thereof. Now these units are so far out of position that there's really no use in actually trying to do anything with them. So we're just going to send the martyrs in here into melee and finish them off. So we lost 2 units while clearing that out. Those units weren't veterans or even troopers, so I'm not too worried about it. We did get a mesmerizing necklace, which is nice. I haven't had any issues with my leader being dominated yet, but it's always nice to have it just in case. So let's capture this watchtower here and see if it really is just open ocean over here. See if it's a watchtower or a lighthouse. So they all pretty much hate polearm. It's the only one without polearm. So what I'm going to try and do is make it so that way polearms don't become a problem. So I'm gonna move the martyr over here. Honestly, I don't know what to do right here. These cavalry units should be able to set up a flank once they do engage in melee with my units. Of course, if they use Warcry like that, I'm going to lose a unit. Yep. Right, so they presented us with the best possible scenario for killing their impalers. However, with those marauders engaged in melee with these pikemen here, I'm actually going to use that musket, get the flanking attack, and then turn and get a flanking attack on those. So, they are down to 1 life. And it's a lighthouse. It's a fancy schmancy lighthouse. Well, everyone, we have re-established control of our domain, cleared out the new treasure areas that we've gained thanks to our increased radius. We are no longer being invaded by spiders, so I guess national security has been restored. Next time, when we come back, we will be rebuilding our army and probably, now that I look at our income, building a second army specifically to guard this city, so that way we can send this army here to focus purely on exploration and try to meet the other 3 unknown AI before they get massacred by independents like 3 of our unfortunate enemies have. So, thank you for watching. I'm Ranak from Lizard Gaming, and this is Age of Wonders 3: Corrupting the World.